what you do. You buy these clothes that cost me and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on, with a smile on his face.
You just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the truth. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series.
We are on the site of the castle.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
Hi everyone, whoever's there. Anyway, it's me again, and totally different program tonight. But what I will say is, does anyone see Klopp's? Not Klopp. Why do I say Klopp? Does anyone see Slot's press conference? I didn't like what he says, you know, especially about the summer. Because someone asked him about the, the summer and all this more chest nonsense and that we normally get. And he said, well, we've signed, 2 players, Mo and the other fella. And that got me worrying. I think just 1 or 2 players will come in. That's what I think. I personally think 1 or 2 players. And we need more than 1 or 2 players. We were asking for them last summer. I was talking to our Francine today. And it's terrible arguing with a woman. But anyway, it's just, it got me worried actually. But that's for another time. Pity it wasn't last night. You know what I mean? Pity it wasn't last night, lads. Let's see what you're saying. Yes, Frank? It's that time again, yes. Love the show, Frank. Truth may sometimes be said, but it can't be denied. And, all right, yeah. No matter how what's that? Do you know what? I had to bring the glasses in, Japanese-made glasses. It's terrible, isn't it? No matter how some try to despise it. I'll read that again. Love the show, Frank. Truth may sometimes be said, but it can't be denied. No matter how some try to despise it. See, Plato once said, no one, hang on, I'm sorry, no one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. That's one of the greatest quotes coming from any philosopher in any era. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. If you think about it. And what I'm worried, like, as you know, in the last couple of years, I've been very ill and I've become disabled. Simple as that. That's why I've always said, you know what I've always said, never take things for granted. This is why when I say about gap painting services, don't struggle. Don't be like me. Falling back to me neck in. Came on me years later. But the point is I'm trying to make is that, no matter how we look at life, we do take things for granted. We really do. I've gone through life taking things for granted. Like just running over the road. That sounds daft, I know. But I can't do that. I haven't ran. I've never trotted since 1994. And I always remember standing at a road, trying to cross the road, traffic lights, pressing the button, And there was this old lady next to me. An old lady. And I mean an old lady. And I seen cars, way down there. And she just went across the road. And I had to stand there and wait for the lights to change, for the green man to go off. And as I feel a little embarrassed actually, because when the cars came up, they all looked at me and seen this old lady crossing the other side of the road because it was a dual carriageway. See what I mean? Every time I come in here, I get this itch, Blimey. So nauseating. So gets on my nerves, really. Anyway. So what I mean about disability, what you've got the likes of Starmer actually taking away in the UK the disability allowance that people get. People are worse than me, obviously, but they're taking away that to pay Ukraine. What the fuck have they ever done for us? Ukraine. Who's ever heard of Ukraine before? How many could, show a map of the whole of Europe without any, wording of what country's there, if you know what I mean, and point out where Ukraine is? How many could do it now? If you took away all the, the names of the countries, and he's paying these. He's taking our fucking money away. People who've worked all their lives, who unfortunately have become disabled, or, have been disabled all their lives anyway. I think it's disgusting, I really do. And I'm not just saying that, because of me. Even if I was fit as a fiddle and could run 100 yards in a, 10 seconds, I'd still say it. So you're right there, Red Bird, you know what I mean? It can't be denied, no matter how some try to despise it. And remember what Plato said. And Edward says, I noticed that, Frank. It made me think that's about Slot. And I thought, fucking hell. Remember at the beginning of the season we said, didn't we, that this fella who's coming in, Sloot, he likes a very small squad. And we all said, everyone, you said and I said, but this is the Premiership. This is Liverpool Football Club, not Feyenoord. Playing a couple of teams who are decent, half decent. We're playing teams that could beat anybody on the day. Then we've got the Champions League. Then we've got that Carabao Cup. Then we've got the FA Cup. And look what happened there. As I said, I was talking to our Francine today, and she said, you know what, as with us going out against PSG, we were there off for where we were, let's be honest. And she said, but there's Aston Villa, but, they battered them at Villa Park. And they did. Unlucky against them. And we couldn't get over the line with them. And that's what she said. His daughter. Is there any chance Trent will change his mind? I'm being honest, Redbird, if you look at it the way it is now, if you know what I mean, if you're looking at it, if you were Trent, you'd change your mind. But someone's in his ear all the time. I tell you how it changed his mind. If Real Madrid turned around and said, we're putting so many players on the track, they can go, and one of them's Bellingham, he'd stay here. Because he's only going there for him. I'm telling you now. And you never know if whoever's the next manager, they might want Trent. So I think he has to be very, very careful of what he wishes for. I keep forgetting to auto-spell, meant to type disguise, not despise. It's the same. It's the same. People despise the truth. And again, as you said, disguise it as well. When you disguise it, it means you spin. It means you spin the truth. That's what it means. There's loads of spinning that's going on about Ukraine and Zelensky. There's loads of it, especially what you've got. There's Rubio at Paris Airport, going back to the States, and he said, we're done. More or less saying, we're done. If you don't accept this roadmap, and that roadmap is that all those territories that belong to the Russian Federation belongs to Russia. It's as simple as that. They're in the Russian Federation. Lugansk, Donbass, Kherson, Crimea. So you've got all these territories now that belong to the Russian Federation. They're part of the Russian Federation. Oh, and Zaporozhye. Yeah, Zaporozhye. So they're all part of that. Russia, that is. And, people say, again to me, well, but this is the Western narrative, an unprovoked invasion. They haven't a clue that's gone. They think that it's just started in 2022. It goes back to the 90s. It goes back to 2008. It goes back to 2014 when a legitimate, democratically elected government was overthrown by the Americans. America was involved in it and getting these Azovs. I'm going to show you a picture of the Azovs. And this is what I mean. These are these people who are fighting the Russians and who the West is supporting. The West is supporting. those lot. Now, there's hundreds of them, and they're all around a massive campfire, and they're all in celebration of Stepan Bandera, you know, the Nazi officer who killed 400,000 Jews, celebrating his birthday. They do it every year. They do it every single year. Look at them. Look. What does that remind you of? That reminds me of the 30s. And Nuremberg, not the trials, but little Adolf used to get up there. What he used to do, Hitler, you know, you had the likes of Goebbels, and you had a lot of them, Göring, you had them all sitting, and you couldn't see them because the podium was up there, and you couldn't see them, and they used to be sitting down. And Goebbels used to get up. It wasn't Goebbels at first. It was the likes of Martin Bormann, someone like him. Rudolf Hess, someone like him. And Göring, you know, they used to give speeches. And then the greatest of all, propagandists, used to get up. And he'd give us a little speech. And that was Joseph Goebbels. And Goebbels used to give the speech. And then they were in a favour. And he used to get back down. No one could say it. He used to just go back down a little couple of steps and sit down. And he used to say to little H, whatever you do, don't get up yet. And he used to sit, you know, he was sitting there. And sitting there for 5 minutes. And these, you know, these are, they know that Hitler's going to get up and give a speech. But could you imagine the fear? And then all of a sudden he just came up the steps and he appeared. He just went like that. And it was fever pitch. That's how they did it. And you get the likes of today with what I've just shown, honestly. Honestly, people, these people, the Azovs. And this is one of the reasons why Vladimir Putin wants to denazify. When you look, you know the likes of the grandparents of that Kaya Kallas, who's just hates Russia. She's a fanatic of hate for a certain race of people, and they're the Russians. But her grandparents were Nazis. Did you know that? And the grandparent, I don't know whether it was a dad or the grandparent, there was a Nazi propaganda newspaperman, von der Leyen. You've only got to look at that Juncker. You remember standing up in the Parliament in Canada, and he got a standing ovation. A standing ovation. He was a Nazi. He killed thousands of Jews and Russians. This fella. And Russia said, we want him over here. He's going on trial, no matter if he's 98 or what. Do you ever remember that? Only last year or the year before. And this is what you're at. These people in charge. But you also have another elite who are the globalists, the neocons, the deep staters, who like to go into countries and steal whatever they've got. And Russia has no matter what country in the world, forget America, you know, and they're like minerals or whatever they've got in oil. Russia has the lot and the most. They can feed the world. Without Russia, the world wouldn't be fed. Did you know that? Also, you've got now this Merz fella who's wanting to send these missiles, ballistic missiles, to Zelensky. Now, the point is with that, there are a couple of things. One, if he does that, these long-range missiles, say, weather forecasters, these long-range missiles could go deep into Russia. Deep into Russia. Now, what you've got to understand about Germany, let's just say for an example, that Germany decided to go into Belgium and cause a war. Well, they're not allowed to do it. Did you know that? I forget what I forget what it is in the UN thing, you know. I forget what number it is. And but it is there that Germany can't go into any country and start a war. And if anybody attacks them, if they do attack someone, that country is allowed to attack them with all they've got. I don't know whether you're aware of that. I don't know whether you're aware of that. They can't go, and as I said, now what the Russians have said, if you send them, they more or less said, you're at war with us and you will feel the consequences. And it doesn't mean like Russia putting fucking sanctions on them. It means that they'll fucking bomb them and no one can do anything about it because it's in the UN Charter about Germany. So what you've got now is Macron and Starmer, and they're wanting to say, and Germany, fucking Germany, and this is the problem that they've got. These are fanatics. These hate Russia. You know, the likes of Macron. He's a fucking idiot, him. Because he's been over to Putin. He's saying, "Shook it off. All right there, mate." But he's following this geopolitical fucking band of like Soros and the WEF and BlackRock because they wanted to go in and tear up Russia for their minerals and whatever they've got. You know, from diamonds to gold to oil, everything they've got, everything. Every conceivable thing they've got, Russia. And that's why the West want to go in and fucking take them. The West. And Starmer wanting to put 20,000 troops. And he's come out and said, hasn't he? You know, there'll be conscription. And Edward says Plato was a long time ago. Well, and he was on it. Of course he was. Of course he was, Edward. And as the Redbird says, it's only when we get older, our bodies slow down, that we realise you shouldn't take things for granted. I know, and we don't think about it. My grandmother used to talk about the Italians, and like when I was 14, 15, 16, all I wanted to do was go down the square there and play football or knock around with me mates. And as I got a bit older, you're sitting there, then you were trying to get out, to go out with your mates at the weekend. And today I regret it. Because, as you said, Redbird, I'm older now. And if I could have sat down, the information that she could have given me, she gave me information, obviously, but, a lot more. A lot more. Gary, even Frank and everyone. Hey, yeah, Gary. Glad you joined us. And as I say, Redbird, I agree. You can think you're indestructible when you're younger. We do. And how many times, as the parents or, your grandparents said, calm down, that's not good for you. You don't give a fuck, I used to get on. That's a good thing there. We do feel indestructible. The crack of that. I love that. It's great comments. Ukraine and the illegal invasion of those are not allowed to speak up. Yes. That's where all the money is going. Yes. Yes. We're all supposed to feel sorry for this fella. Have you seen the houses he's bought? Have you seen the cars? I was talking to Francie. As I said, I speak to no one. No one fucking rings me up or anything. Sitting there on my ass talking to myself and everything. And I said, I've just been watching something there about Zelensky. I said, he gets into his brand new, top of the range Rolls Royce. This is only the other day. I said, and she went, Dad, he's the president. I said, no. I said, that's his own personal one. I said, there is a presidential car, but he decided just to go for a fucking spin in it. In his brand new, top of the range Rolls Royce. With all the modifications that he'd need. And she never quite got it. She said, but he's the president. I said, you're not getting the point. I said, if he wanted to go in, he wasn't going like to meet any leaders or anything. He was just going for a spin. While, this is my point, while his fellow countrymen are being massacred on the battlefield, he said, I think I'll go with my rolls today. But that's what they say, Redbird, illegal invasion, unprovoked invasion, while it was provoked. Paddy has said something again about Trent, said he's not a Scouser. He is a Scouser, he comes from West Derby. But who's Paddy? Paddy the Baddy, you mean? Paddy. Crack at him, isn't he? Tony, the mince pie man. Hello, Frankie. Hey, it's Tony. Hello, mate. Thanks for joining us. Callum. Hello. Good Friday, yeah. And as me swearing. One good thing, I haven't had meat today. I never eat meat on a Good Friday. never eat meat. I've gone through life like that. I always remember my uncle, and he had little pork pies through this. He had little pork pies. One of the neighbours come to the house, they were big friends of the family, and we said, "Is he there?" And he went, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I give him them. And tell them that they're all right, they've been blessed by the Pope. They spoke on Good Friday." It's that come along. Because he said, "He gave you these." He said, "I don't know. Just get come along the house." He said, "Have you seen it?" Amazing. Then I laugh. As with, "Sorry, Frank, no more footy." Okay. Okay. Oh, the unfair raw. Even in Frank and chat, look at all those. I wish I could drink them. Mark Simons. Happy Good Friday, Frank. Thank you, Mark. And I suppose you're going to tell us that it's wonderfully sunny and warm and have a little balmy night, evening in Gibraltar, the Rock. Edward says, if Trump can't stop Putin, does that mean Putin won't stop till he's took over? Yes, he's going to stop him. Honestly, who's going to stop the Russian army? I've been watching it daily basis, and what they've got a thing called the Orishnik, and it's devastating. There's nothing like it. They've got the fastest ballistic missiles that nothing can take down, not even this Orishnik. No one can take that down, and it can carry a nuclear power. The Orishnik is an absolutely devastating missile. And the way they are now, these drones, these are unbelievable things. I watch a thing called Murat. Try and get it on. Murat. Murat. And you see the way they are, these things. These fiber optic drones, they've got a camera on, and you see them going after things. Incredible. I seen today, these Ukrainian lads, soldiers, and some building was blown up, and you see them, and there's another drone that's looking at them. It's a reconnaissance drone, and it's looking at them. They've got those telescopic lenses. It just goes right down. They can't see them. And it goes right down to them, and you see them like scarping them, and they go into this like, I don't know whether it's a bunker or a basement, I forget what it was. And you see them scurrying in there, only about 5 or 6 of them, but they scurry in and they go right down. Then that, unseen drone sends the coordinates, and they send in these fiber optic drones, and you just see it, and it comes down like that, and the camera's on it. Perfect picture, like watching Netflix, and it comes down like that, and it goes right into this place, and it blows up. It just says no image, but then you get the image from this drone that's taking everything in. Fucking hell, it's just, the whole lot goes up. incredible. Absolutely amazing. These drones. Warfare. So you got to. But I think Trump is walking away now because what he said, this ain't our war. Biden started all this. And he's just come out, hasn't he, today and said he doesn't like Zelensky. He said, I'm not a fan of this. Because he said, didn't he? He said that this should never have happened. But he signed, or he didn't sign, I'm sorry, in April 2022, when there was a peace agreement, and he would have kept all his territory, he would have kept everything, until Boris Johnson went over, under the orders of Biden, by the way. Because Biden said, get over there and tell him not to fucking sign. We want to take down Putin. And he went to Istanbul and said, don't sign it. Now, you only get him in here a couple of weeks ago, Johnson, saying, oh, it wasn't my fault. You know, he had these ultra-right fellas behind him. This lot, the Azovs. He said, and it was those who said, oh, don't sign. It was he who said it. You've got to look at Zelensky. Who's threatening him? And it's the Azovs. No matter what. He's like a dead man walking. He's not going to join the spoils of war. I'm telling you now, he's not going to enjoy the spoils of war. Got all this crack in him. All the spoils of war, he's not going to enjoy it. That's why he keeps going. There should have been elections last year and he cancelled them. Put the country under martial law. He said, you don't have elections in wartime. Of course you have elections in wartime. But the amount of people want them out. And I'm talking about ordinary citizens. I'm talking about ordinary citizens here. They want them out. See, he's got the thing behind his head. There's a thing behind his head. I'm telling you now. So no matter what happens, he's gone. He's gone. And the Red Bear says, wasn't aware of that about you. Yeah. Yeah, they can't like go into another country. They're not allowed to fight. They can defend their own country. Sorry there, boys. You know, they can defend their own country, but they're not allowed to go into any other country. Yeah, you've got mercenaries, German mercenaries, and you notice, like the commentators say, when there's someone caught, like, say, like them British fellas that have been caught, one's just got 19 years, hasn't he, in Russia. And they don't call them mercenaries, they call them English citizens. And like Germans have been getting killed, the mercenaries, and they call them German citizens. And Callum says, how's your Friday been? Just went to the gym and watched the football. Get it right, Frank. Macaroon and Stalin. Stalin, you mean? Boris, what's it? I always Lukashenko, you know, the Belarusian president. He said, and he was talking, and he said, and that's as for that stormer. Owen Lee. Because even in Frank and Friends, hey, Owen, have you been on here before? I don't think so. This isn't a football show, Owen. This is what it says, you know, like conspiracies and theories and other things. This is like the current affairs show. If you're a football fan, that is, Owen. But nice to have you along, it really is. And if you want football, I'm doing a watch along on Sunday. Starting, well, the match is 5, so I'll be coming on about 4:30, talking pre-match, looking at the team. I wonder who's playing. Nice to see you all. And Edward says, how come both Wales wars started by... No, you're wrong. Edward, honestly, you're totally wrong. I mean, guess who started the war? On Germany? Us. Here. I never liked that. We declared war on Germany. You've got to understand, after this, did you know that the Kaiser Wilhelm, he didn't want a war. He didn't want a war. He said, "I don't fucking behave yourselves, will you?" But you had the Tsars over in Russia, said, "I know we'll have you." And you had the British. And it was the Brits in Wales War One who declared war on Germany. They didn't. And again, in the Second World War, we declared war on them because we were the allies of Poland. They went into, in 1938, they went into Sudetenland, as they called it, Sudetenland, Czechoslovakia. And they said, we want our land back. So they went in there. So, you know, no one's done anything. It was an appeasement sort of thing. So, well, okay, yeah. And if you watch film of the time, when you see the barrier going up and you see all the Germans going, all these people were made up to cheering and that because they were all German. Every one of them was German because it was annexed after the First World War. Germany was annexed, and Poland got a big chunk of it as well. Big chunk of Germany. So in 1939, when they went in, they called it the Blitzkrieg, didn't they? They said, we want our land back, so open up your borders and you'll be all right. We just want this portion here, which was fucking Germany, you know, a few years ago. Until the Allies decided to, and they went, no. That's where your Blitzkrieg came about. And they went in to take the land that was German. And they were all cheering and everything because they were Germans. They were Germans. They weren't like Poles. See what I mean? It's all intricacies that people are not aware of. IBR. Even in John Franco. Even in IBR. And as I say, Goring never enjoyed the spoils of war. Hang on. Goring never enjoyed the spoils of war either. He took loads as well. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not disputing that. But they all had a dip. Everyone. You had the likes of Paris. You know, they was, you know, you've only got to look at the La Gioconda, the Mona Lisa, that was taken away. And they went, where can we put it? Oh, fucking hell, you know, we can't send it over to America, you know, they'll fucking keep it. So where can we put it? And they went to Switzerland, to a cave. And they put all the arts and everything in. Because they knew that the Germans were going to come in and just... The Azov, says the IBR, are responsible for running the child trafficking and organ harvesting operations in Donbass. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And after fucking saying, it's Good Friday and I'm swearing. And at the same time, they were shelling the Donbass people because they hated the Russian-speaking people. They hated them. They called them Untermenschen. Untermenschen. Subhuman. These people, Russian. Do yourselves a favour. You know, because even the West think that these are fucking idiots, these Russians. Look, you might think that I'm I'm on the side of Russia. I'm not. I'm not on the side of America, nor France, nor this country, nor the Germans, nor the Italians, nor the Spanish, not anyone. I'm not on the side of. I'm just giving you what's happened. But do yourselves a favour, honestly. Just Google. I'm going to give you cities here. Google 2 cities in Russia. Moscow, obviously, and St. Petersburg. Just Google them. Just Google. And remember about Siberia. Siberia. Now, we all get a terrible thing about, that's Siberia. Fucking freezing over there, and there's gulags everywhere. There's fucking prisons everywhere. There's a prison up the road from me. A big one. 2 of them we've got here. Old course on Bolton. Not that I've been in them. Cowards. Where it comes to prisons, I'm a coward. You know what I mean? You know, getting a shower and your soap slips out your hands. You just leave it for the cleaner up, don't you? Fuck the soap. Just dry yourself off. But anyway. So you see, you've got all these people who think, and we've been taught at Siberia, all that everything, and all like what people really fucking believe what the Ukrainians are saying about Russia. They haven't a clue. That's why I said just Google those 2 cities in Russia and Siberia. Just Google cities of Siberia. incredible. Incredible. Honestly. Honestly. I was alive, it was. You know, I went onto this, like, I forget what it's. I can't even name the Siberian things, you know, because they've got little funny names. It cooks, you know, but anyway, they've got loads of K's in. Just Google them. Have a look what they're like. Have a look at the churches. Incredible. Honestly. And so, you know, as I said, I stream a lot of things, not just over there in Russia. I've streamed Pyongyang in North Korea, you know, because I look and I go, you know, Kim Jong-un. And they go, oh, he's a bad dude, him. But it's all a propaganda. I believed that he got his uncle, Kim Jong, and imprisoned him because he said, I don't like you. I was so stupid like that. And I believed it. And then he took him out and he starved all these dogs. And he put them in, he put the uncle, stripped him naked, and put him in the middle of an arena with all these dogs that were starved for a couple of weeks. And they attacked him and ate him. I believed that. And it was a dirty little place, you know. Honestly, just stream Pyongyang. It's an incredible city. Iran. See, this is the axis of evil, and we're supposed to believe the axis of evil. Just, honestly, just Google Tehran in Iran, and you see, you know, you see these markets and bazaars, and you see the people all walking around. Then it goes to a beautiful mall, unbelievable, and it's got all the, you know, the fancy gear and everything, like this, you know, these. I'm just saying these brands, and you see the young, like in the 20s, all meeting up and like get coffee or whatever, and shopping. Oh shit. They're all dead smart, and then the girls, you know, you see with the flowing hair, they're not walking around with, you know, like this. They're not walking around like that. They're westernized, and they say, you know, if you want to dress with it, you know, one of them on, do it. It's traditional, but you don't have to wear it, and that's what you see. Yeah, you know, you're getting like the Western play, oh, second-class citizens, and, you know, they're chopping their heads off of that. Oh, for fuck's sake. And thanks for that, IBR. Made up you said that. And there's one. Edward, Germany has an army, navy, and air force. Of course they have, but you can't fucking do nothing with it, David. Don't say they can. And Frank, do you believe in resets? And if so, are we experiencing the start of a new one? I think David Owens would be ideal, to tell you that. Yeah, well, yeah, it is a reset, isn't it? It is. I always remember, I know this may sound mad, but I always remember David Icke, a few years ago. And I was listening to him, and I went, then all of a sudden his predictions were coming right, about tsunamis. And he also predicted the I forget what islands in Japan. But anyway, it's a nuclear thing. And it could have been devastating for the world. And he said that's going to, explode. He also predicted, he says, in a few years, there'll be a war. I think, what was going on? Afghanistan. And I think it was in the first term of Trump. Trump, the first time he was president. And Trump said, I'm going to take the troops out. Because Trump really believed he was getting in for a second term. He said, I'm taking out the troops in Syria. That's what he said. But what you've got to look at about Trump is that he let off the biggest bomb on Syria, but it wasn't in a civilian area. It was in some part of a desert or something. And it was the biggest bomb dropped since Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You've got to bring the two of them in. The biggest bomb ever dropped. But the Russians have got the Irishnik, which is lot more powerful than what the bomb Trump dropped. So are we experiencing a new reset? I think so. Because what you've got these you've got geopolitical people, these elites. You might think that, presidents and everything else, they're the main men. But they're not. You've got the likes of Starmer here, BlackRock are here, Soros is a lot, the WEF. They're telling him what to do. This is why you've got this all going on now. And people don't believe it. It's hard to convince them to say, hang on a minute. This is what's going on. Because you've got the press. Look, I might surprise you here. I don't know whether you've heard this. Zelensky came out last week and said, he came out a few weeks ago at first and said, we've lost 30,000 men. We're not going to give up with those 30,000 men. We're going to keep on fighting. Then he came out last week and went, we've lost 100,000 men. And people, So I'll tell you how many they've lost. 100,000. If you add another 1.2 million onto that 100,000, that makes 1.3 million Ukrainians dead. Forget about the injured, the wounded. You can never take up arms again. That's why they're dragging them off the streets. Young fellas, that's why there's loads of young Ukrainians gone. That's why if you're a wealthy Ukrainian, you can pay. So your son is not dragged into the war and into the front line. I've seen it all. I've seen everything. You won't get it on YouTube. It's incredible. But this is the this is what we've got. This is, you know, and if you're talking about a reset, this is the reset. This is the reset. But I think it'll stop because the globalists can't. Well, America's going to walk away from this. And then you might think this may sound silly, but Russia have been fighting this war with one hand tied behind the back. They have, honestly. And I think once America walk away and you get the Europeans, von der Leyen, Kaja Kallas, she's that fanatic of a Russophobia, a Russophobe, that she just wants the whole of Europe to go into Russia. Europe don't stand a chance. Europe is skint. You've got the German, you've got this Merz fella who said, I'm going to send over them. But he's been warned. So it won't happen. It won't happen. It will not happen. I'm telling you now. But now you've got the Germans actually saying, let's get the Nord Stream up and running. We've got to get the Russian gas. We've got to bring it in. Because their industries are collapsing. The motor industry is collapsing. Everything is collapsing. The engineering, everything is collapsing. Do you ever remember Blinken when the Nord Stream was blown up? Do you ever remember that? The next day, he said, now we can do business. And what he meant by business was sending over liquid gas to Europe, which they've been doing, but at an astronomical price. So this is what you have. You have America, I'm talking about under Biden, manipulating everything. And all these, in the military complexes, they've been making a hell of a lot of money, and they're doing it now. Now, Zelensky said around to Trump and said, yeah, there's 50 billion, we'll give you 50 billion. And he's refused because he's a businessman, Trump. And he's more or less saying, well, where's the fucking money? Where's he getting the money to pay 50 billion? You know, for more weapons, Patriot missiles. So we'll give you 50 billion. You had von der Leyen saying we'll get all the money together, but there's European countries who said, fuck off, you know, no, we're not. We're not going to give you, no, fuck off. Well, people come first. Orban said it at the beginning. He said, my people come first, not Ukraine. Then you had the likes of Fico, of Slovakia, who they tried to assassinate, by the way. Wait till that comes out, who was behind that assassination plot. They got an old man to try and kill him. You'll be well paid off, mate. You know, like the way they paid off Navalny. Yeah, get over there and fucking try and serve, you know. It's terrible what to do. You've got the likes of Georgescu. You've got all the von der Leyen von der Leyen and Callas, they're unelected bureaucrats, every fucking one of them. And they're dictating what the whole of Europe's sovereign states should do. And they're going along with it. They're going along with it. We've got no leaders, no proper leaders in Europe. None. You have got them, you've got the proper ones, but they're suppressed. They're not getting it. Like that girl, Alice girl from Germany. She said, "Oh, fuck this, I've had enough of this." No, people are suffering, especially through Nord Stream. And we all know who blew that up. MI6 and the Americans. And this is why this mate, what he said, came out and said it. He said, we'll get the Kerch Bridge. It'll stop the supplies of arms to Russia in Crimea. He said, fucking do that, don't do that. Because they will get bombed. I'm telling you now, they will get bombed. And no one can do anything about it. They will get a couple of Oreshniks thrown at them. The most powerful bomb. Do you know what? It's more powerful than a nuclear weapon. That's what will happen to Germany if they do that. And no one can help them. The Yanks won't, because the Yanks won't be there. And they can't do anything anyway. The IBR. Owen Lee, I think they do resets every 133 years. But it is time, though, isn't it, for a reset? You've got wars going on. Look from last century. After the Boer War, then you had the First World War. There's everything going on. Everything. And you had thousands of people being killed. Thousands. What does Wilfred Owen say? We have lost the cream of Britain. And that's like the soldiers that were killed in World War I. So you take all these wars together. So one massive reset. You take the famines and everything else. You look at Vietnam. You look at it, you've only got to look now today at the likes of, you've only got to look at the likes of what's happening in Gaza and the killing of babies. Is that biblical? The killing of babies, is that biblical? Remember a fella named Herod? Because they don't want to procreate. Get rid of the babies and they'll be gone. Yes or no, Frank? I love both shows. They're great. Thanks, Owen. Thanks. The IVR. The fact is, European borders have changed time and time again. Yeah. Do you ever remember? It's got nothing to do with wars or anything, but it's how they manipulate and spin things. And do you ever remember when it's all about demographic sort of things in this country, and they wanted to change the boundaries of they wanted to change the boundaries, when you're voting. And the Tories tried to do it so that they would just have a Tory government forevermore. He tried to do it. I think it was in the 70s or 80s, I'm not quite too sure. And no one says every country that has joined the federal banking system is now in billions of debt. Europe is. Europe is. And SWIFT, where they all go to, SWIFT, banking system, SWIFT. Now, Russia was thrown out of them when they were sanctioned. You have this French fella. I don't know whether he's French Canadian or just French, I'm not quite too sure. Someone asked me his name. And he said the worst thing that we could have done was throw Russia out, ban Russia through the sanctions of SWIFT. Now Trump's saying that we'll have to bring Russia back into the thing, into SWIFT. But Putin's good. Hang on a minute, we've got fucking bricks now, mate. Remember what was his first thing he said about Putin? Trump. He said, I'm bringing him back into the G7, so it'll be the G8 again. And Putin said, got bricks, mate. That's what it's all about. Edward says, I didn't know that, Frank. Have you got videos of World War II? And I'll do a show on it if you want, on my history show. The lead up. Look, every war that you can think of, even this one, what's going on now, seeds are sown years before. Seeds are sown years before. Then they have a war. The Franco-Prussian War, after that of 1871, that was the seeds. And the seeds started to sow for World War I. And you had the likes of Bismarck in 1884 saying, fuck that, let's get Saxony or Prussia and let's bring them into Germany, make one big Germany, one big mighty power. So the seeds were sown. Every war. Why do you think, I mentioned about 2014, even 2008 with the Minsk agreements, that there'd be no NATO in Ukraine. Oh, yeah, okay. Then, all of a sudden, he started to say, we bring NATO into Ukraine. That was provoking Putin and Russia, saying, we told you, no, there's an agreement. And there was two agreements. Angela Merkel and Francois Hollande, who was the French president at the time, and they signed it. They were the guarantors that NATO, the North American, no, it's not, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, wouldn't, the fucking North Atlantic, not the South Sea Atlantic. or the South China Sea Atlantic. North Atlantic. That's all it was. Get a map up, Google the map, see how many fucking countries, see where they are. NATO. And they promised that NATO would never go into Ukraine. But they went, yeah. So they started to provoke then with these Minsk agreements 1 and 2. So seeds are always sown years before. The Maidan. Putin was saying the bombing and shelling the people of Donbass. And he's telling the West, stop it, you've got to stop it. It's genocide. That's what he's saying. But they knew, they said, no, fuck that. Angela Merkel came out and said it. She came out and said it. She's no longer the Chancellor now. So she came out and said it. Along, he's dead now. So everything was planned. Poke the bear, and we'll take out Putin, and then go in and get all the resources. But they failed. They failed. That was the big plan. To get Russia out, Putin out. But they don't rely on a fella by the name of Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev, if he was leader today, he said, Ukraine will be no more. It'll be flat. That's what he said. It'll be flat. And this is what the West, let's go out. He's only bluffing. He's not fucking bluffing. Been to St. Petersburg. It's great. Magnificent buildings and so clean you could eat your food off the pavement. Everywhere's clean. To know you've been there. The Venice of Russia, as they call it. And I've been to Pompeii 46 times. Honestly, I am. And the Italians always ask for money. Who owns the purse strings? America. If countries need money, to keep up the standard of the likes of World Heritage status and sites, and the Americans are, well, all right, yeah. And St. Petersburg asked, because just like Venice, the sea was coming up and it was going into these buildings that held, still hold, these priceless things. And the Russians always asked for it, can we have some money? And they were always flatly refused any help. And so, do you know who gave Goring the poison in the cell when he was? Yeah, that was brought to him. It was just brought to him. It was just brought to him, Edward. Cyanide. It would have been an American or a British fella. Yeah, cough on that. Yeah, all right. And the IBR, I'm with you on research, but how do you reckon it's every 133 years? Not doubting you, bro. Just interested. Owen says, so Mike, we haven't got countries anymore. They're all, that's a cracker, that. That's a cracker, Owen. That was on, mate. I'm going to go right down so I can catch up with you. The idea, if you watch the 2012 Olympic ceremony ritual at the symbology of Cold 19 and the Phoenix is in the plain sight. Oh, the rise of the Phoenix, yeah. I don't watch Olympics, especially the 2012 in London. I've listened. Do you know that they should have had a part of it here in Liverpool, the Olympics? Did you know that? And it wasn't to do with football. And they refused it. Can you tell me what event was supposed to be held in Liverpool in the 2012 Olympics? Let me know. And if you don't know, I'm surprised. I've listened to a lot of David Icke talks, which could last up to 9 hours. I always found him interesting, but the media did a good job of convincing people he was a nutter. They do it to everyone. The media do it to everybody. Owen Lee to the red bear. Read most of his books. His background work is second to none, says Owen Lee to the red bears, and that's about David Icke. Yeah, when I was listening to it, fucking hell, the cake through. True. Oh, trying to think of that bloody Japanese thing. Oh, the nuclear power plant leaked. Do you ever remember Bhopal? Bhopal. Bhopal in India. In India. And 2,000 people died within, I think, was it 15 minutes or something like that? In the 80s. An American, it was a biolab. No matter what they say, it was a biolab. And they let out this, and I'll never forget this physicist he was. He said, and they let it out, and here's exactly what this is how he put it. He went, they let it just that. And people are still dying from that in India. Do you ever remember when the Russians went in? And I was watching the ordinary news then. And you see all these Ukrainian soldiers they were. And they were destroying papers from these places. I didn't know what they were. And I forget who it was. These are laboratories. It turns out to be biolabs. Right on the border of Russia. And have a guess who was in charge of it? Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden. The Redbirds. Yes, IBR, it's more in our face now, but too many people are still brainwashed and can't see the real meaning behind the symbology. Signs. No. Here you go. Here you go. And red there. Oh, spot on, bro. I'm going to go right down because I want to see something. I tell you what, you're powerful tonight, boys. IBR. Watch David. I kept on Vigilante TV today, and his take on Trump and the fake anti-globalist actors is spot on. David Icke. What did I watch? Wasn't about David Icke, though. Have you ever fucking watched that? Piers Morgan. He gets paid, I'm telling you now. He's fucking awful, eh? Especially about Israel and Gaza. And he agrees with it. He's making excuses. He doesn't say, oh, I agree, you know, they should. It's the way he says it. Horrible. I believe famine is being delivered, planned to reduce the population, and everyone needs to be prepared for food shortages. Yes. Yes. You've only got to look at the Black Sea, for example. And Russia sends out wheat. As I said, they feed the world in abundance. And we're trying to control. This is why stupid Macron and Starmer, and they mean it. It's not like saying that won't happen. They fucking mean going into Ukraine to go into Odessa, a Russian-speaking city. Odessa. The Russians have warned them, don't you fucking dare. We'll obliterate you. That's what they want to do. They want to invoke everything. They want to invoke a war. They want to go to war. Think about it. Against Russia. Us. Go fuck off. It's not like going back to the first or well, we are not in the fucking First World War or the Second. But we had a lot more then than we have now, if you know what I mean. We were used to little warfares, especially after the Boer War. We were always fighting wars, weren't we, for fucking centuries. David Icke knows his stuff, says the bit. It was David Icke and Bill Cooper who woke me up. Edward said, that would be good, Frank, about doing the World War II pod on your History Channel. I won't do it on the History Channel. I'll do one, like I'm going to do one about Hillsborough. But that's after the football season. I'll be doing that. But I will do one soon, very soon, about World War II and the main actors and the main theatre fucking players as well. If you know what I mean. When I was teaching, mature students, there was a lady named Dorothy, lovely lady, very elegant, posh. And I was talking to her one day. I was doing the Second World War. And she was a co-breaker with Turan. Barry Aldridge. I'd like to hear a stream of World War II or World War One. I'm a specialist on World War One, you know. We didn't treat Germany well after World War One. I believe Frank starving them, trying to suppress them, but we all know what happened. What you've got to understand about World War One is, America stood back. I'm sorry about this itching, you know. Every time I come in here. This is when I'm doing that, you know, I'm dead itchy around here. But anyway, when you, when you think about America, America stood back and allowed it to go on for a reason, a fucking big reason. And what you have, remember Churchill? Did you like Churchill? And I've never liked Churchill, you know, through history, I mean. Churchill, do you remember the Lusitania? Now, the Lusitania, Churchill had all this information, you know, send it through here, be safe. And where he was mentioning about, like, you know, off the tip of Ireland, Southern Ireland, it was all fucking U-boats. And he said, if anything happens, there's American citizens on there, and America will come into it. Wrong. They just sat back. And they sat back for a reason. Because what they did, they call it the global market. Hence, the dollar today. And you're right about, starving the likes of the people of Germany. It was an armistice. That's what Hitler said. He said it was an armistice. We didn't lose the war. They didn't win the war. No one won the war. It was an armistice. And we were all going to, we'll get it. Like the Italians. The Italians, were fighting the fucking Turks. We said to the Italian, listen, stop those Turks from coming over into. I gave a book to the Athenaeum, and it was called The Covenant of Death. I just wanted to get it out of my library. And I wish I would have had it just to show you a few pictures. Because those Turks, the Germans wanted them at the front, the Western Front. And so the Allies said to the Italians, listen, join, and get up to the Balkans and stop them from coming over. And the Italians said, well, I've got a fucking penny. Skint. Because, you've got to go back to 1861 and the sewing up the boot of Italy by Garibaldi and Giuseppe Mazzini, sewing up the boot to make Italy one big Italy instead of all these little principalities. And they left a couple, like San Marino, for example. Great San Marino, been there. Fantastic. But, he's showing up and they said, we're fucking skint. Because the North was trying to feed the South, like it always has done. Because the North was industrial and, the South, unfortunately, always had droughts. And they said, we're skint. But the Allies said, well, yeah, look, there's a few fucking rifles and that, stop those Turks. And we'll compensate after the war. So why, compensate after the war? And they were fucking waiting and waiting and waiting for compensation. They never got it. They didn't get it. That's why lots of including mine, came over to England. Can't fucking send us the money, we'll fucking join you. But they were going on the way to America, but we got stuck here. This could have been a Yank, couldn't it? Hello there. With all coify hair and nice big town, big teeth, like Jürgen Klopp, Bobby. That's what Jürgen got, didn't he? When he came here. And when he left, he left with new teeth and new eyes. I never thought about that. I do digress. But that's the Italians. And they stopped the Turks from getting to the, that never gets mentioned. They lost 30,000 men in one day. The Italians. Do you know how they lost them? Like in the snow covered there. And the Italians were, they camped there, fucking mountain. They camped. And the Turks had these explosives, spread it around at the top of this fucking mountain and let it go. And it was an avalanche that killed them. 30,000. And that's when Mussolini, Il Duce, he came in. Try and understand this. The likes of me mum and me aunties and uncles and whatever, these are kids. Right in the 30s, like young girls and young lads. And there used to be processions, black shirts, to send money back to Italy because they were fucking skint. They were skint. And this is why, they knew, the Italians said, listen, we've got no money. So Il Duce were like, okay, tell you what I'll do. Just like going back to the old times when he said, the North, the industrial North, will feed, no, it won't, will pay the southern states of Italy. He said, and the southern state will feed the industrial North. So it was a big swap thing. He said, and to get things moving, and it's still like that today, is the railway. Because you get on a train, if a train says 1:30, it's there. It's incredible. Been on loads of trains in Italy. Loads of it. So anyway, it's the Italians, as I said, fighting for the Allies. Never got compensated, never got nothing. And so the black shirts, kids, like, me mum and, me aunties, and they were all in black shirts and doing around, Little Italy here in Liverpool. Processions to get money. They had the barrel organs out, they had everything, it was always great. Processions, the opera singers, everything. And then what has happened? They sent the money, they sending the money over to El Duce. That was in the 20s and 30s. Not right through the 30s. And then fascism. Like this fucking lot here. Like that lot. And that's why you had the partisans. In the Apennines. The partisans fighting the fascists, fighting their own fellow countrymen. And that never gets mentioned. Ever. There had loads of Italians who said, fuck off, I'm not joining the army, I'm not fucking going with them. We were fighting them only a few years ago. And they were thrown in jail. We're still fucking executed. But you don't hear about that. All you hear about the Italians is fucking the Godfather, the Mafia. Nothing about heroics. Nothing about Mazzini. Nothing about Garibaldi. Nothing about the great visionary that was Leonardo da Vinci. And all the great composers, operas, Verdi, Puccini. You don't hear about them. Sorry to get off on my bike. Sorry. I really am sorry there. I'm sorry. Apologise. Yeah. David I says Putin is controlled by the same people as the West, and they are simply destroying the white Christian population of Ukraine and Russia. Spot on. But Zelensky's desecrated, imprisoned priests and everything, desecrated the Russian Orthodox Church. Look, I say 2 prayers every night. I've said it for years, since I was a child. 2 prayers. Not that I'm a great practicing Christian or anything. But I would never, ever, if I was I was a Ukrainian and my government said, I want you to fucking go into that church, smash it up and fucking grab hold of them priests, we're locking them up, put them in jail. And also the parishioners, if they argue it. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. You've only got to look at Northern Ireland. Well, it's happened from 1969 onwards, but it doesn't go from 69. It goes fucking way back to 1566. Northern Ireland, Island when Sir Humphrey Gilbert went over in order to commit famine. Scorched the land. Let's see how the natives see us, because he was this country was jealous of the Spanish being in America. Let's get over to America. Let's see what they can fucking do. Let's see how we can handle the native of those countries. And it shows Ireland as a stepping stone, an experiment. 1566. And there were 6 fucking famines, not one, of 1845, with the potato famine. And that potato famine was a load of bollocks as well. Because people say, look, no potatoes, they're fucking blight. They were exporting potatoes to England during the blight. They just wouldn't feed the Irish. That was genocide. Never talk about that, because we're English, you see. All right. We're good. We're bad. Some fucking bad dudes. That's a good comment. That's a great comment, actually. Netball or something on the water. Water polo. What's that? I'm sorry, I've missed. See, that's what I mean. I'm missing you. I'm missing you. You could have been with John Gotti again. Yeah. They're over there now. Part of our family. Straight there. New York. Only Germany surrendered. The Nazi Party never, and they never gone away. Operation Paperclip. Yes, they've never gone away. They're fucking here. They're everywhere. There's lots of great cities in Italy. Love Italy. If I'm a bit okay in the year, I'm going to go away. Obviously, I'll be on my own, unfortunately. And I'm just going to go to a hotel and stay there for a week. As long as they've got like a swimming pool or just an outside garden, just sit there for a week, because I can't move around. That's if, I'm not fixed by then. Fuck. Every time I think about it, it kills me. Said to a mate of mine, he's an entertainer on the cruise ships. I said, would I be all right on a cruise the way I am now? And he went, no. Because I wanted to go on a cruise, 2-week cruise around the Med. He said, it'll be useless for you. He said, just going up the gangplank. So, the red birds. Same for me, IBR, Cooper and Ike. The red birds. Oh, and lots of Nazis in Ukraine. There they are, Owen. There they are, mate. That's who the Russians are fighting today, the Azovs. The Banderites. And we're giving them money, and we want to help them. Giving them arms and everything. We have been for the last 3 years. The West are destroying their own white Christian population. Can I show you something? I'm going to believe. I'll just finish up this one here, this Redbird comment. White Christian population. Remember when we always had Easter eggs at Easter? Now we just have eggs. Bit by bit, our culture and traditions are being destroyed. Took a terrible pain then. Me. See how bad I am? I've got this horrific pain right now there. I never ever take painkillers. And I've been taking painkillers for the last couple of days because of the pain I'm in. Fucking hell. I'm going to show you something here. Bear with me. Bear with me, boys. If you speak English to someone, it's classed as a hate speech. Look at the left picture. And you see that fella, and he's listening to what the cop's saying. Cop said it. And look the way he's looking when he said, hate speech. I go, and someone shouts over, what did you say? And that's why the cop's looking over there. So there you are, Redbird. IBR. The potato famine in Ireland was clearly orchestrated by the British establishment. Of course it was. There was a fellow by the name of Major John Rossman, and he owned a thing called, he owned 9,000 acres in a place called Strokestown. Now his great, whoever it was, when Cromwell wanted to commit genocide in Ireland, Cromwell. And because he killed more Irish than anybody else, he gave him these 9,000 acres in Strokestown. And he went, say I owned, here's how it happened. I owned the land. The English came over along with the Scots, 1566, and fucking told me, get off your land, it's ours now. And I go, hang on a minute, it's ours. So my ancestors then, no, not ancestors, my descendants were going to I'd just be given a little plot of land at the bottom of my land. Acres and acres of land. Prime farming thing. I'd be given a little plot to sustain my own food, grow my own food, but I'd have to work that land for fucking nothing. That's the way it was. That's the way it was. And if you got out of hand, another famine. 1566, famine, scorched land, with Sir Humphrey Gilbert. 1727, the second famine. 1729, the third famine. 1740, the fifth famine. 1800, no, the fourth famine. 1800, the fifth famine. 1845, 1845, the sixth famine. Genocide. Think about it. That Major John Rossmar said, I want these tenants off. I want them replaced. Now, I don't like bringing religion into it, but there is tenants who owned the land in the first place, their descendants, their ancestors, who owned it, owned the land. They were Catholic. And he wanted to replace them with Protestant tenants. How many died in the famine? It was like put up 740,000 unofficial, unofficial, 3 million died. 3 million Irish people died. Unofficial. Think about that. Think about that. So you're right, IBR. It was orchestrated. Everything's orchestrated. Unfortunately. It's like if you didn't pay your rent, say now today. If I didn't pay my rent, I'd be evicted. No second chances. No, fuck off, Got someone else into there, pay your rent. So I'd be evicted. And that's what it was like. Eviction. Do you know that people ate grass? Did you know that? People were actually at the dockside trying to get potatoes, the good potatoes that were being exported to England. And people were shot by the troops. Do you know where the biggest cemetery, not the biggest cemetery, the biggest mass grave in Liverpool is, of Irish? But you don't know this. You know St. Basil's? Not St. Basil's, that's in there. Sorry. That's in there, Moscow. The cathedral. You know St. Oswald's? Them grounds there. Thousands. I was working in the Vauxhall area. I was told to go down to by the university and said, listen, we'd like to bring in the community over. I said, okay, yeah. I didn't want to do it, but I did do it. And I was looking out the window one day. I said, it'd be fucking raining, You don't want to look out when it rains or whatever. So one day it goes into work and the next performance is I'm looking out the window, sees all this black, like tarpaulin around this site because they were building something and they were excavating, digging the big trench hole, whatever they were digging up. And they found 2,000 interrs there of Irish. And that was in the Vauxhall area. Through that, they found. as they were digging for the foundations of this thing. All Irish from the famine. They were dying of louse-borne disease. In other words, starvation. The louse coming through the skin. Edwards, you should go, Frank. I'd love to go, but I'm not able to go on my own. I can't go. I wish I could. I'd love to. And Mark Simons, did that med cruise, Frank, on Norwegian cruise lines from Rome, and it was full of coffin dodgers, even older than you, and they all got carried everywhere, if needed, and wheeled about. Food was coffin dodgers. Thanks very much. Come on. I understand that. I inquired, but I wanted to embark and disembark here in Liverpool. But one of the cruises go down to South. I said, "Oh, fuck off! I'm not going to Southampton." Wouldn't even go there when I was there watching Liverpool play away. Fucking Southampton! You never get back home. You never get down there and back home. What do you think about Charles talking other religions? I know. Don't tell Redbeard that. I never see that, honest. The idea. When you get offline, Franco, I want you to look into ration packs and emergency food, as the supply chain is going to get strained and extremely fragile within the next 2 years. It's fucking pain. It's killing me. Edward Charles became a Muslim in Iran in the early 90s. The Grand Mufti told the world he was covered up, of course. A couple of weeks ago, Charles had iftar for a group of his fellow at Buckingham House. What I know, it's sickened me, actually. I know I don't want to be called a racist. I'm not a racist. I was called a racist once. And I went, fucking hell. And what it was over. So I'll tell you what it was. Oh, you must be a racist then. I'm a decent historian, I do know that. About Liverpool. And I said, there's no definitive proof that slaves ever landed in Liverpool. And there's not. He never ever landed. And I said, if it was, I said, the echo would be official, slaves landed in Liverpool. Honestly, it would. And I was called a racist because of that. Oh, fuck off. See, you're getting labels all the fucking time. Racist. Anti-Semitic. Islamophobic. Homophobic. And it's all classed as hate speech. fucking nuts. When I can't say that word, stop it. When they fast, they feast between sundown and sunup. The feast is called Iftar. Oh, okay. I haven't a clue. Thank you. Are you sure you're not one of them yourself? Most people think they think they fast all day and night. It's not that much different from being on nights. What are you like? I'd be answering it. It sounds like me with midnight munchies. My chest tickles. Come on. My chest tickles. Oh my fucking hell. Do us a favour, will you subscribe to the channel, please? You know, if you haven't subscribed, get the algorithm up there. Thank you. And press a like as well if you don't mind. And he says, I'm not a racist. I love John Barnes. Oh, it's the fucking joke coming out thick and fast. Only Katy Perry can go into space and we can't get Frank up the gangplank. That's what my mate said. He said, you'd be very difficult getting up the gangplank, you know, and coming down. And he asked, oh, right, okay then. I really was. I wanted it. It was always an ambition to go on a cruise. And when I had the opportunity, I can't fucking go anywhere. Oh. Thank you all for making me laugh. And you, Tickles. Funny that. The Red Bear. Charles is an imam, leader. He ain't no king. When will people wake up? Call me a racist. I don't give a no answer to that. Red Bear. Exactly, bro. IVR. Exactly. The red. I've read a lot of the Quran because I like to know my enemy. It just shows you, doesn't it? I don't fucking know it. Maybe that's my Tickles. You've got some balls. Really flies. Guess I'd say when they are mics. Oh, fucking hell. If I was a comedy writer, I'd be made up with this. And the Tickle says, you can't be racist to a religion. I am an atheist. Well, funny enough, you saying that. These Zionists, you know, who say that they're atheists, by the way, they come out, this is how hypocritical these are, people. And they say, God has given us the promised land. That's from the river to the sea. You know, from Israel right down to the Black Sea, the river to the sea, past the Yemen. That's why they want fucking all that destroyed. I should have mentioned about the 7 countries that was planned. to take out. And this is why the seventh now is Iran. This is why Netanyahu wants a war with Iran and he wants America. Do you know, if America, if Trump goes like, fuck you, you're on your own, like to Europe, you're on your fucking own in Ukraine. Now, if Israel tries to bomb Iran have got ballistic missiles that can take out. Israel's only a small country, very small country, and it could take them out. But the missiles they've got, I don't know whether you're aware of that. They use the code word Muppets stroke Frank. We know you've got to be careful, especially as you're on MI6 watch list. You'll be on that fucking Ukraine killer. Do you know what gets me? Do you know the likes of fucking Starmer, even Trumpington, and Macaroni, they never ask Zelensky, what's this fucking kill list that you've got? Roger Waters, he's on it. And Owen says, the letter from Albert Pike to Mazzini explains the layout for the 3 world wars. Didn't he go on that, didn't he go on the premise of Nostradamus? I'm sure he did, you know. I'm not quite so sure, to be honest, Owen. I heard a quote that religion is the power of all evil, and the same with money. As the richer get richer, the poorer get poorer. The poor get poorer. You're right there. Have you enjoyed it tonight? I think it's been great. The comments have been, honestly, first class. First class. I might have a bacon butty at 1 minute past 12. Look, I know what you said there, that bit. Religion is a cult faith, is a belief. Some think they are one and the same. You see, who do we follow? You know, we grow up and we take notice of the parents and, you know, your aunties and uncles as you're growing up. Then you pass down when you, you know, you're an adult, you have kids, and you pass down what your beliefs are. If you're a proper parent, that is. I'm not talking about fucking lunatics, ferals who are running around. I'm talking about decent people. So we all have something. Do you ever remember me saying I'll have a ufologist? Remember that? Oh, great, you know. Now I asked them once, I said, because for years, me I've been saying, who built the pyramids? I've always said, who built the pyramids? And this fella said, he's good, you know, he's fucking good. And he said, who do you think? I said, that's why I'm asking, who built the pyramids? He said, well, put it this way. It wasn't a human being. It was another being. And I said, you're not talking about it. He said, no. And he left me with otherworldly beings. That's who built them. And this fella has a photograph. You see it? So when you see the what do you call it? The fucking signs, you know, crop circle things. It's got one of Mars. You want to be posh? Mars. The same things in the dust. Fucking huge. I think it was taken from a spacecraft going around, as you do, because they always send things up to Mars. I think it was the Chinese who took it, you know. I'm sure it was the Chinese who took it, he told me. Because they've sent satellites up there, so were the Russians. The Russians were the first to go, you know. And they were the first to get to Venus, the Russians. Only great show and great chat, everyone. I say thank you, Owen. The IBR. Trump converted to Judaism, so his loyalty is to Israel, not the people of the US. I didn't know that. I thought he was a Christian, because in his last office, I seen him outside the church with a prayer book, you know, a Bible, whatever. Because there was like, I don't know, there was some kind of problem then. That was in his first term. The tickle says, I'll phone me mate Dixon Cider 1 sec. Great night, Frank, with great chatters. You never let your people down, Frank. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And the tickle says, Black, be talking all about the slave, but we are slaves to the power and the cult of governments, no matter who's in charge. Here's a quote for you. And it was from a great Frenchman by the name of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And he said, man is born free, however, he is everywhere in chains. Think about that. Fucking hell, my ears are itchy now. Think about that, Mike Tickles. And even with today's amazing technology, they can't replicate the pyramids, so I don't believe they were built by humans. No, they can't even get into the Sphinx. Been trying for years. You know that big fucking Sphinx thing? the idea. Aye, spot on, mate. Oh, and YouTube, AW Facts, lots of Russian UFO stuff from the Cold War. Something happens in Siberia in 1902. And if they go today, you see nothing grows. Now, Siberia's just forests everywhere. It's incredible. Incredible. Forests, you know, big pine things. Thick pine forests. Go miles. Bigger than some countries. And they get to this place and they see a big, massive clearing, and the trees are falling like this. Like that. You know what I mean? You know, on top of one another, you know, all four different directions. And they've got eyewitnesses from 1928, 1930, when they were, you know, Russia, you know, a fucking great country, great minds. And they went to investigate it, these scientists. And they got hold of these people who were actually there, you know, young people, as it happened. Because they thought that it was a meteor. And it wasn't a meteor. Because there was no hole in the ground. If a meteor hits, even if it's that big, it'll make a fucking hole. But they thought that it would have been a fucking big meteor. That they were going to find, like, you know, they got them things in Arizona, those fucking big meteor things, holes. And when they got there, and they were talking to these witnesses, and it's all documented, it's all written down. They said that they seen these things in the sky. This is 1902. The only things they ever seen in the sky in those days is fucking birds. And they seen them, and they were zigzagging, but sending out things, you know, like what we call rays today, at each other. And one of them just fell. Caused all that. One thing from the sky, and the other one just shot away. Gone. The idea. Apparently, they are finding nanobot technology within chemtrails. There's been a film that was banned, and it was that lovely Anesh, you know, who was killed in a car crash last year. Great actress, lovely actress. And I watched it, and I've never seen it again. And I'm sure that I read that it got banned. And it's called Toxic Skies. Try and, you know, if you can get it up anyway. Just have a look at that. Have a look at that, IBR. Just have a look at it. And the title says, that's why civil war could happen, because we got left and right media. It's all a division. We must stay together to back what's ours. To get back what's ours. We've got fucking nothing. Do you know what? I'd love you to be here with me. Make us all a cup of tea. Get that red beard, scotch or two, and chat. Just chat. About everything. I think he's that good. Blacks believe only they can wear braids as they invented them. What about the Vikings? They had braids. So did the Romans before the Vikings. Pathetic. Pathetic, the red bird, honestly. It's just nuts. It's like a change of history, unfortunately. And this is where the history is coming up. Only, was it a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, and they were talking about Cleopatra. Now, that's how you know Cleopatra. That's how you pronounce Cleopatra. Cleopatra. My old university professor told me that. He said it's Cleopatra. It's like, when people say about Boudicca, it's not, it's Boudica. Boudica. I like Cleopatra. Now, Cleopatra, they were trying to change that she was African. She wasn't. She came from a different dynasty. Non-African. I'm a mixed race man, English in the blood and South Asian too, says Tickles. Well, there you go. Sad. Nanobots in chemtrails, they probably been doing that for years. I catch that film. I'm talking about films, don't forget. Tomorrow, 10:30, the film and TV review. I fucking watched the film. I couldn't watch any longer. I said, oh, fuck this. I'll have to turn it off. It was that bad. IBR. The weirdest story, was that Wales War or was Russian miners? The casket was reportedly found 70 feet underground by miners. In 1969, they had a small and remote village of Revizhnik Tsugago in the Kamarovo area. Fuck off. Taking the piss from off. When I was trying to remember these names in Siberia, like Kursk. It sounds like Kursk, funny enough, but it's not Kursk. And the IBR, Red Bears, I agree. The technology is getting more scary. Cheese, mate. I'll have a double, says the Red Bears. IBR, Franco's Italian Cafe is now open. The Red Bears. IBR, the evil ones have far more advanced technology than we can even imagine. That's what I believe. Can I just remind you about these people, please? And it's about the Beatles tribute night. It's the bootleg Beatles, by the way. 60s tribute night. The 60th anniversary of Liverpool's winning the FA Cup for the first time. It's happening on May the 1st in a couple of weeks' time. It's 20 quid. You get the same meal that the players got at the Grosvenor Hotel. The victory after the victory of beating Leeds 2-1. It's 20 quid a ticket. It's going to be a great night. It really is. So I'm just showing you. I'll be mentioning it again tomorrow and Tuesday. Oh, Sunday. The watch along. Callum. All right, Frank, that mic account was made. Just wanted to write them things and not my name, so YouTube didn't falter my message. Do you know what? Yeah. My tickles. You're a beauty, you, Callum. Fucking beauty. I'll only write my thoughts on a second account. And even the red bears say, Mike, Callum, good one, mate. Listen, lads, it's been an amazing night. Thank you so much for keeping me company. It really has been good because some of the comments tonight have been outstanding. Really has been outstanding. You know your stuff. I'll do the first, well, not the first. I'll have to do the First World War, because the seeds were sown for the Second World War. So I'll have to do a part, not all of the First World War, I'll have to do a part. But I have to do the lead up as well. I remember Lloyd George when he took over. And he said, home's fit for heroes. That was a load of bollocks, that. And that was all he said. Oh, just tell home's fit for heroes. They would soon get over there. And fucking shocking the way they treated the people. And we're still being treated like that. Going back then. Always been. You were serfs tilling the ground for these barons. And the next week, you had a tap on the show. Come on, pick your pike up. We're fucking going to war now. That's what it was like. Always being used. Always being used. Never forget that. And if ever you want me to talk about anything, like discuss something, just let me know. Historical wise. I do know I want to talk about Napoleon at one point because he's misunderstood, Napoleon. Believe me, he's misunderstood. Owen Lee. Good night, Frank and friends. Thank you for your company. Isn't that nice? That's lovely, that. Owen. You're not Callum, are you? With another name. No, you're not. No good telling half a story, Frank, says the red bird. No, it's not. You've got to give a preamble, you see. It's no use going straight into it. No use. You've got to talk about something before a seed or whatever. It's no use talking about an architect, and you just say, oh, yeah, well, Harvey Lonsdale Ems, he designed at St. George's Hall, and look at it today, it's fantastic. Well, anyone can fucking say that. But you've got to say something about the lad. That's what you've got to do. You've got to say where he got his inspiration from, where he went to get his inspiration, what had happened to him. Did he finish his project? Did he build anything else? Of course he fucking did. He built the Collegiate on Shore Street. He built a fucking big house down in Moulton. You see what I mean? So, he gave a background. Was he a Scouser? No, he came from Kent. But what was he doing in Jamaica when his doctor sent him there? His physicians? Because he was dying of tuberculosis. And unfortunately, he died 7 years after the project started. And Barry said, great input yet again, Frank. Look forward to your World War One and II streams. Always interested me, those two wars. In particular, have a great week. My dad was in the war. He's a New Zealander, my dad. And he was an officer in the Royal New Zealand Navy, an officer. And he was in the SBS. And he had his own men with him. He was the officer. And what they used to do, special boat service, like the SAS, but they was underwater fellas. SAS was obviously on the ground. Some of the fucking things that he got up to. Dangerous things. Fucking Germans, they couldn't see him underwater. Couldn't see him. Always a pleasure chatting with you good people, 100%. Look at that. Says the red bird. Brilliant. Where is the MH370 plane, do you reckon, Frank? Where is it? Didn't he find it? Or am I getting mixed up with another one? Do you ever remember the Close Encounters of the Third Kind? And you see, I don't know, are they in India or somewhere? I forget where it was. And they're in a fucking big desert. And you see boats, big liners, rock and planes. That's how you see, how people just go missing. People just go missing for no apparent reason. They just vanish off the face of the earth. Know what I mean? You've got to You've got to have a an open mind about everything. You can't take things for granted. You've got to question them. That's why I said, like, people think, oh, well, you're supporting Russia and you don't stream fucking Russia. No, I fucking don't. I streamed the Galapagos. I streamed Johannesburg. I streamed Christchurch, which is in the South Island, New Zealand, where my dad came from. I stream everywhere. Come on, Liverpool, let's seal the deal. Yes. Kickers. A Scouse Italian Kiwi, you are unique. Oh, fuck off, them bits. Very serious. My granddad used to bring the palm oil back and was in charge of the people to keep it from solidifying. Go away. Wow. The search suspended for the last month. Didn't know that. I didn't know that. And Steve Swenson, have you been all night? The lunatics are taking over the asylum. The fact it took a Supreme Court to say what are biological women, it says it all. Yeah, what a biological, yeah. Well, I feel the tide is turning though. And Frank, did you live in Italy before England? No, no. My old girl met him, after he became, when the war was over, he had like friends. He got demobbed, obviously. Whether you say a Navy fella gets demobbed, I don't know. And he left the Navy, and instead of going back to New Zealand, he became friends with other seamen, merchant seamen, and then he started going away, from Liverpool with these new friends of his who he made friends with, going away, and the merchant, he became a merchant seaman, and then he was going away for a few years, and then he met my old girl, this young Italian lady. And then married her. Then I came along. That was the end of that. The world stopped. So no, I just love everything about Italy. That's all. If you know what I mean. I do nothing about New Zealand, I'm being honest. It's just Italy. Callum. I want to see Franco do a Scouse Italian act. Questo interessante. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? It is, because we all love our roots, especially Scousers love the roots. Never forget your roots wherever you come from. and never forget your team who you support. So listen, lads, thank you. You've been great. You've been great, honestly, and thanks for cheering me up because I've been in a fucking hospital and things, and, take my mind off it. But just to say thanks. Thank you. Really grazie. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning, 10:30, film and TV review. You don't want to join me there. Join me on the Watch Along, 4:30. Bella ciao, mamma grazie. Really grazie. Ciao. Amico mio. Amico mio. And the IBR. Another banging show, Don Franco. Oh, thank you. No, you lot, I think is a brilliant. Honestly, what I said before, I'd love to have you here sitting down and chatting. Honestly, I would. I'll have some of you here one day. I haven't got a garden. Could have gabbed you down, could have sat in the garden summer's day, just chat. But I can't because I've got no garden. I'm claiming Italian now. A few words, about 500 other words. Words, it's parole. Words, parole. That's Italian for words. Parole. Molto parole. What do you like, Callum? So I'll see you all in the morning. As I said, well, we'll see you all, like I know that, but, try and join me. And but definitely join me on Sunday, 4:30, for the watch along. And as Callum will say, grazie mille, buonanotte, ci vediamo, a domani, a domani. That means in the morning. See you in the morning. Ciao bella. Tutti.